Yo, just finished packing for my trip to Scottsdale tomorrow. I think the last time I like made a video or whatever was kind of talking about it was like Monday or Tuesday, and we had just launched with one of our clients. Our goal is to do like $100,000 from like January 6th to February 6th. First like 2 or 3 days, we honestly just like kind of shit the bed. We kind of realized that there's some things wrong with our funnel that we could definitely improve upon to help continuity from marketing to sales. So that's kind of what we're working on now. So I won't lie, like Monday through like Thursday, pretty much this week, like I was literally just sitting at my desk like all week, just like this, looking at my computer, doing whatever needed to be done or whatever. Um, but yeah, pretty much shit the bed on launch from like Monday to Wednesday or something like that. We did pick it up, thank God. Um, Friday and I think Friday we did like seven and a half, like 7.5K. And yesterday, which was, no, Friday we did 7.5K. And I think yesterday, Saturday, we did like 6.8K or something like that. We should have done like 8K. We should have done 8K like both of those days, but we kind of got unlucky with a couple things. And to show you guys I'm not like capping or anything, here's like our sales channel from yesterday. You can see I'll blur out a lot of this stuff, to be honest, but I'll blur out like a lot of the names, but you can see like, $300, $2,500, $500, $700, $100, $200, $1,000, and $1,000, right? So that's like, I don't know. It's like 4, 5, 6. It's like 6.3K or something like that. We should have done 8K yesterday, but we have some money like coming in from a contract that didn't get paid yesterday. But yeah, so yeah, just shit the bed, honestly, for the first couple days. We picked it up at the end. We're still behind, like, I'd say, we're behind like 10K or something like that is what we wanted to do. We wanted to do like obviously 25K this week to do 100K in the month, but it's all good. We're moving, we're adjusting, always optimizing and whatever. But I think that one thing I learned this week is that, even though sometimes it's going to get hard, like this week, like honestly, Monday through Wednesday, me and my business partner were like, holy fuck, like what the fuck? Like, this is obviously not what we planned to happen. What I realized is that there are just going to be a lot of like challenges and problems that come up whenever you start a business. Like that's the name of the game. And the thing that I thought to myself whenever it was getting hard was that like, and this may sound like kind of weird, but it's like, how lucky am I to be able to experience this, like to play this game where I can do something that challenges me. You know what I mean? I kind of grew up playing a lot of like competitive video games. So like, I really like, challenges. Like I always played like ranked games and stuff like that, trying to like, I played a lot of League of Legends growing up. So like, I really like a challenge and like the competitiveness of it. So for me, it's like this business or just business in general, entrepreneurship in general, it's just like a challenge to me. You know what I mean? So it's like whenever we're kind of like getting beat, quote unquote, Monday through Thursday, all I can think to myself is it's like, damn, like this shit's kind of fun. You know what I mean? Like there's a challenge in front of me that I get to go and try to beat. You know what I mean? And also like a lot of people would realistically, want to be in a position where they can have these problems, right? Like I understand that I'm lucky to be able to even have these problems in the first place of building a business. So, even when it gets hard, I'm like, damn, like this shit's kind of fun, right? This shit's kind of cool. And yeah, yeah, I'm going to Scottsdale tomorrow with a couple friends. Wanted to talk to you guys kind of as well about like the importance of networking and traveling and just seeing new things and gaining new experiences. Like this trip that I'm going on to Scottsdale, tomorrow, honestly, like I booked it. I was going for my friend's birthday. I was like, you know what, like this will be cool, whatever. There's a lot of money out in Scottsdale. I'm sure I'll see some things. But then like I started overthinking it. I was like, man, do I really want to go? Like I kind of want to cancel. I don't really know if I'm in like the best position to do this. Like, we're in the middle of all these things. But then I realized, and I kind of thought back to like my previous experiences. Like I've never ever been on a trip to a new city or to a new place that I regretted, right? And I think something that we can all take away, or like you guys could probably take away from that, if you guys are trying to start a business or you guys are trying to just do something, different than what you're doing right now, is that just gaining new experiences and networking with people, all it takes is one conversation for your like trajectory in life to be completely changed, right? So, and I've talked about this a couple of times, but like in October, I went to Miami, and honestly, like if whenever I was first thinking about going, I was like, wow, like, you know, it's gonna be cool to go to Miami. Like, I don't really know if I'm gonna like I don't really know if this is like really something that I should go to, but in the back of my mind, I was like, you know what, fuck it, like I'm gonna go. Like, how often does someone get to go to Miami, right? So, but going out there and just like networking with people and talking with people and having like longer conversations with people in person, completely changed my trajectory. Like, right? So I'm from Arkansas, and like, nobody out here my age is driving like a fucking Lamborghini or anything like that, right? Or they're not building businesses and things like that, right? But whenever I go out to Miami, I'm exposed to all of this wealth and all of these young people, literally just like me doing crazy things, right? So what that does, it like expands my capacity of what I think is possible, right? So whenever, I go out to Miami, I see these kids driving fucking supercars. I'm like, fuck, like maybe I can drive a supercar, right? And during that time, like a couple months ago, when I went in October, I was just like a remote closer. I had just made my first $10,000 month, and I was feeling hot, right? I was like, wow, like this is the fucking shit. Like 10K a month, like I'm chilling. I never need to make any more money, right? But then I go out there, and there's like, there happened to be a lot of my friends out in Miami at the time. And one of the nights, so I went to like a networking conference event that I got invited out to from my work. I got to listen to like Colin Yurkison and Luca Netz like give a presentation for about an hour each. And they really opened up my mind as to what was really possible. Like, it's one thing, like just going out to Miami and like you see all these people online, and you think like, wow, they're living this crazy life, they look like fake. And then you go out to Miami and like Brickell, for example, like that's where all of these people hang out. Like I saw a lot of people that I recognized online, and like listening to those two guys give a presentation to us, and like, having seen them online for so long, it's like, wow, these guys are real people. Like, you know what I mean? And like having conversations with them made me realize that they're literally just regular people, just, dedicating themselves to one thing. You know what I mean? So just breaking that barrier from that event of like realizing that's like, hey, like these people are just regular people. Maybe I can do it too, right? But that was like a conference event that I went out to Miami. But another thing that happened to me is like I went to go stay with one of my friends, like one of the nights, like my last night there, I stayed with one of my friends. He's 2 years younger than me. He's like literally, he's like 3 years younger than me. He's just 19 years old, and he does the kind of like same business that he pretty much does, growth operating, kind of like me. And one thing that I learned from him is it's like he really opened up my mind as to what was possible, because before going there, you know, I was just comfortable being a closer. I had just made my first $10,000 month, and I was like, wow, like I am going to just do this forever. But he, made me realize that really there's no end to that. You know what I mean? I think what happens is like a lot of people will make their first $10,000 month, they'll make their first big paycheck or whatever, and they'll kind of get lost into that. You know what I mean? So it would have been really easy for me to just make that $10,000 a month, consistently. Um, Hopefully, I mean, I probably would have made $10,000 a month again in like November, December, whatever. It is sales, so it's commission, so I don't, you know what I mean? But it would have been easy for me to just like be, I don't want to say stuck, because like $10,000 a month is a great amount of money, but with like high ticket closing, you're literally working like Monday to Saturday, like 9 a.m. to like fucking 9 p.m. You know what I mean? And it would be easy to get lost in that money. But what my friend made me realize is that, you know, he really made me realize that, because me and him have the same kind of relative skill sets, right? Like he knows how to close, he knows how to set, those kind of things, and he, kind of had a similar start to what I had. And just like meeting him in person and seeing what he was doing, and really seeing behind the scenes of how he was working, really opened up my eyes as to what was possible, right? So like just being with him throughout the day and seeing him work, because a lot of the times you'll hear people talk about like, oh, I do e-commerce, I do growth operating, I do, SMMA or whatever. And you're like, dang, like what do these guys do on a day-to-day basis? You know what I mean? It's like, I don't even know where to start, right? But spending a day with him made me realize like I got to see behind the scenes of what he does on a day-to-day basis and what it kind of looked like. So it really broke the barrier to me of what I could be doing, because, seeing him do all that kind of work was like, I was like, wow, like there's no reason that I couldn't do that. You know what I mean? And because of meeting him, and, he makes a lot more money than I do with his agency, but by like talking with him and seeing that our skill sets were so similar and he was doing something that was just leveraging his skill set instead of, staying in one position of, closing, really opened up my eyes as to what was possible, right? So because of him, I'd say like I really took a chance, and I bet on myself, and I started this business. If I never met him, I literally never would have probably started. I wouldn't have started this for a couple more months or a year. Who knows if I would have ever started it, right? But I hope that made sense at all. But what I think is important for you guys to take away from that is that if you guys ever have an opportunity to go to a new city or a new state or something like that, whether you know people there or not, I think it's really beneficial for you to just go and see what it's like in different places, right? Because me, like a small town guy in Arkansas, if I never traveled to like LA or New York or Chicago or Miami, which are places that I made like a point to visit in the past year, I never would have like seen what was possible and what people were doing out in those cities, right? And then I would have just stayed in Arkansas and been comfortable, and then only thought to myself what was possible in Arkansas, right? So yeah, if you guys ever have a chance to like go out to a new city, network with people, even if it doesn't really make financial sense, I would say just take a bet on yourself. You know what I mean? I'm gonna go out to Scottsdale. Who knows if it'll be beneficial for me? Like financially, it really doesn't really make sense for me to be going to take a trip. But I understand that one or two conversations can completely change the trajectory of my life, and I'm gonna go out there. I know people out there who are like, kind of in my network that I'm probably gonna reach out to and like, see if we can grab dinner or something like that. And you never know, like one of those conversations could turn into another client for me, or it could turn into me taking a different set of actions that changes the trajectory of my business for the better, right? It could also just lead to nothing, right? But that's another thing too. It's just taking relentless action. You know what I mean? Even if it doesn't always make sense. That's something that I've learned too, is that like if it just feels like right, usually I've found that that's kind of the best thing for me to do instead of just overthinking it, right? So yeah, don't really know if that made sense, but that's kind of what's going on with me right now. Agency was kind of rough this week, but I didn't go into this thinking that it was going to be easy, so it is what it is. We picked it up on the past couple days. We're making changes to the funnel, going out to Scottsdale tomorrow. Yeah, I'm hopping on a call with this guy who watches some of my videos, and he was just like asking me for like help with stuff. So I'm gonna go talk to him and see if I can help him with anything, and then if I have anything to share from that, I'll let you guys know. But yeah, if you guys are just starting a business or something like that, whenever it gets hard, just remember like you didn't think it was gonna be easy going into it. You're gonna be all right. Yeah, we'll talk soon. Yo, so I just got off of a call with this guy who watches my YouTube videos. His name's Luis. Shout out Luis. And pretty much just like was seeing where his situation was at and how I could best help him, if I even could help him. And like the biggest thing that I took away from like what I kind of explained to him on that call that I wanted to share with you guys is like, just take, in any goal that you have, at least in my experience, the biggest takeaway I have is like of how I've gotten to where I'm at right now of running a business is just by taking unrelenting action, So even if that action doesn't always correlate with your goal, and make 100% sense, always just take that action. So how I was explaining it to Luis is like, whenever I first got into making money online, the first thing I did is I paid like $5,000 for a course and just tried to like start a business that way. I had no idea what was going on
Like I didn't do any research on the course. I didn't fucking know anything about it. I just paid $5,000. I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna give it my all, right? Was that the smartest thing to do? Probably not. But what I did do is I took unrelenting action towards my goal of wanting to start an online business that was successful and, you know, reaching financial freedom, right? So it goes back into like the traveling thing, right? It's like, does it always make sense to go and pay, you know, $1,000 for a trip for like, you know, 5 days to go out to Miami or something like that? On paper, it probably doesn't make sense, but you're taking unrelenting action towards your goal of, you know, for me, in my case, wanting to start an online business, right? So, you know, in the Miami example, I knew there was going to be people out there who was doing things that I wanted to be doing. So I paid the money to go out there and talk with them, right? And it changed my life, right? I took unrelenting action towards my goal, even though that step doesn't necessarily make sense all the time in my pursuit of my goal, right? Yeah, and like another thing too is like whenever I started my first business, it was a marketing agency for roofers. I lost like 10 grand on that business, but I learned a lot, right? And it set me up for success for whenever I first got my first like appointment setting job, right? I came into that job already understanding like how online sales worked because I tried to make it work on my own, right? So it set me up for success in my first position in an online sales role, right? From there, I become the best setter and leveraged my past experience. From there, I became a closer, and now I start my own business, right? So all of the work that I put in before actually creating this business right now has benefited me, even though at the time, it didn't always make sense, right? You can only connect the dots looking back. You can't connect the dots looking forward, right? Now I can see how each part of my journey has led me to where I am now. However, whenever I was first starting, there's no possible way that I could have envisioned like starting that business would have led me to online sales, would have led me to starting this business, working with this client. Like there's no way, right? But you just got to trust that, you know, whatever problems you come across, whatever obstacles you come across, you're just gonna have to figure it the fuck out, right? You're gonna have to trust in your ability to make it work on the fly, right? That's what entrepreneurship is. That's what business is. There are things that come up in my business or, you know, even in life, right, that I don't understand how to do, but I do trust my ability to figure it out, right? And that's what allows me to propel moving forward, is just having that, you know, unwavering conviction into myself, that delusion into myself that I'm gonna make it work, even, you know, and if what I'm doing right now isn't necessarily what I want to be doing, I'm gonna give it my all, because if I give it my all, I'll be able to learn something from this or take something from this that will help me in my journey later on, right? I hope that made sense. But yeah, just like if you have a goal, take take immense action towards that goal, right? Whether you think it's the best course of action or not, even a little bit of action is better than no action at all, obviously, right? So yeah, just take a lot of action. You're never gonna have everything figured out. I didn't know how I was gonna land my first client. I didn't know how I was gonna get into remote sales. I didn't know how I was gonna make my first 10K month, but I did it, you know? So just trust in yourself. If I can do it, you can do it. I'll see you guys at the top. Peace.